Hi, welcome to Spotlight, your story, their lifeline, a mother-to-mother podcast. I'm Mimi.
And I'm Dobra, and together we are your hosts. In this mother-to-mother podcast, you will meet women sharing their stories of struggle, triumph, and hope. Our aim is to ensure that no woman ever feels alone.
Through their brave storytelling, these women become lifelines for others on their own journeys. So join us as we dive into the incredible stories that inspire and empower.
Welcome to Spotlight, where your story becomes a lifeline.
Thank you to this week's episode sponsors, Piazza. And we've got a message from them to you. Hey, wonderful mothers out there, dive into the world of Piazza, where you'll find amazing pizzas with toppings and world-famous fries and, of course, their irresistible dipping sauces. Plus, they've got shakes that will outshine the rest and much more. You can find Piazza in Edgware, Golders Green and Hendon. And they're thrilled to announce that all pizzas are now being served with their addictive Israeli pizza seasoning, which is all under the Kosher Federation. And if you're ordering online via their app or website, you can receive a 10% discount using the code MOTHER2MOTHER10. Enjoy! So to everyone out there, the feedback has been absolutely amazing from our previous 2 episodes. We have one from Tanya Levy, her story of alopecia. And we have a story of Odette Woolman sharing her journey of being diagnosed with breast cancer. So if you're new to Spotlight, be sure to check out the two past episodes because they are really, really empowering and amazing. And if you have a story that you want to share, it will be absolutely amazing to hear from you. Sharing your stories is helping so many women out there, helping people feel that they're not alone in any challenge that they've been through. So please be in touch via our email.
So today we have an amazing guest, Louise Leach, who is well known among Londoners as the founder and director of the renowned dancing school, Dancing with Louise. So growing up in a secular Jewish home, Louise and her sister were encouraged by their parents to pursue numerous extracurricular hobbies, including dance, singing, tap and piano, and many others.
Literally what their objective was to keep them off the street. And little did they know that both daughters would then embark on professional careers with their remarkable talents. And after her university years, Louise actually tasted some fame and she was very much in the limelight on TV. But then her life took a very significant turn when she embarked on a journey to embrace her religious identity as a Jew.
And that's when she ventured into creating a dance school, which has become incredibly popular. And today we have the privilege of discussing with Louise the importance of nurturing our children's talents and the significance of self-care for women.
She has the most amazing stories. Listen in on this episode. The incredible stories of how she is just nurturing hearts of children and women. And it's truly fascinating what we've picked up along this journey of this episode.
Hi, Louise.
Hello, how are you? All good, thank you.
It's so exciting to have you here.
I'm very excited to be here, thank you.
Louise, you are a budding performer on TV, really pursuing your artistic talents. And we've spoken on the phone and you gave me a little bit of background about your dance school, your performing arts school, and the importance that parents encouraging their children to pursue talents. But before we delve in, how did your dance school start?
So building up to where we are today, it's amazing to show that concept that you said about parents encouraging their children to do, extracurricular things because you don't know. I mean, that ended up taking me there. Then I became religious and then it was like, what do I do now? Okay, I had a degree and all the rest of it, but, my passion was with the dance. And then after every week of eating at different people's tables for Shabbos, and then I made the decision to quit because I knew I couldn't, the 2 worlds were going in completely different directions. And after I quit, I had people just saying to me every Shabbat, oh, please open some dance classes for the girls because all the local dance schools are on a Saturday, it'd be amazing. And it was like a word of mouth thing and it kind of exploded overnight because there was a clear need for it in the community. And we started at Jewish Care, found a building to rent. It was me and my speaker and was like, let's see who shows up. And then all the lovely mums would hand out flyers that we printed at the different schools and and then it started in Golders Green and then we started a venue in Edgware and then Boreham Wood and it kind of grew. Again, this is internet was a thing, but not like it was now. So it was all kind of word of mouth. And that's where the dance school career started in the community. And that's why we say to parents now, you don't know where these extracurricular activities are going to take your children. Because even if I hadn't made a career of it, I have to say, just the confidence and the joy. Like, my parents got divorced when I was 11, just for example. And, you know, for any kid, for their parents to get divorced under whatever circumstances is really traumatic and sad and terrible. And when I look back at that time, the dancing got me through all of that. Now, that's not why my parents sent me to dance, to help me, you know, with therapy, you know, if and when I might need it in life. But that was just such an amazing outlet for me to deal with that, because you could literally lose yourself in the music, and it was such a pick-me-up. So, but going back to, you know, parents equipping your kids with skills, you know, it's just going to keep opening doors for you. And whether it's just because it's going to be a nice outlet, there's no just about that. A nice outlet can literally be the difference between a happy, confident life where you can just self-regulate and keep on top of your day-to-day stresses, which as you get older, we can all safely say that everyone gets served their dish of whatever it is they're going to have to deal with in life. And if you've got that outlet, that it's so important to have that out. It doesn't have to be dance, whatever it is, just that hobby, that thing that you do for yourself where you can just like lose yourself in the hobby, whatever that may be. So for me, it was the dance, and it was just very powerful. And then it ended up being my career. So you're really giving your kids so much more than you possibly even realise. Because again, my parents didn't do it so I could have a dance school one day, or so if they were to get divorced one day, that would help me. Like, they didn't do it for those reasons. They did it for the reasons I told you, just to keep us off the streets, which also was a good reason. Because, you know, teenagers can end up in
you never
bad
know
situations.
where it's going to say. Because my mum, like, she pushed us all to have piano lessons, music lessons. You never know, like, where. I had no idea I was going to, you know, open up a recording studio or anything.
Your career as well.
You just don't know. And I remember so many times I wanted to stop piano. I had no patience, like, going for these lessons. And she just pushed me and pushed me and pushed me. And she said, just do it, because you just don't know, you know, where it's going to go. And and that's
so important as well, because we see that as well in the dance school, because it is a hobby. And kids of today especially, you know, we're in such a space in the world where everything's quick. You know, you turn your phone on, you turn the computer on. Like, I know we were laughing about how old I am, because I'm a lot older than these two young ladies with me here. But in my day, the computer, like, when you turned it on, like, took about half an hour to start. It would go, and it'd, like, wait, to go back to the room. You know what I mean? But now it's like computer, and if it takes a minute extra because, I don't know, you're having Wi-Fi issues, you're like, oh God, I haven't got time for this. Like, we're so, like, everything's so instant. So it's even harder to teach the kids how to get to that place of, you know, achieving and feeling success, because if it's not instant, which, to be fair, any hobby's not instant. You didn't get amazing at music after 5 lessons. It took you the years and years. And if you'd quit and your mum hadn't said, no, you're sticking with this, you would have quit. And then look, you would have shut off everything that you're doing now, not knowing at the time. And we often have this conversation. She'll be like, oh, she's not so into the ballet now, or she, you know, she wants to change. And it's like, you know what? Okay, if they really don't enjoy it, you can't force a child.
They have to have some.
They have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But there is sometimes that frustration of, oh, can I take my ballet exam? It's like, no, because you've just been in this grade for 2 terms, and the Royal Academy of Dance that we follow, they recommend at least 2 years, sometimes a bit less. But, you know, you can't quickly just do grade 1 and then the next term grade 2. It doesn't work like that. It's a whole syllabus rich with content, but teaching the kids to understand patience, and not just patience, that the good things in life, a lot of the success that you will experience in any area, not just your ballet, is going to be a culmination of the consistency of putting in the work and the time, and then you get amazing results. There's no quick fix to anything. So it's a really powerful lesson for that, sticking with it and these hobbies. And I'm just so grateful, because you just made me think when you said, oh, I wanted to quit. I remember when I was about 12, when I got to high school, ballet was just like, I was like, oh, I can't be bothered for ballet, and what's so slow and boring. And
or you want to change up styles. So for example, with me, I was doing grades, and my musical ear was very, very strong. So I was like, why do I need grades? Because I play it by ear. But when you have the theory, and I'm sure with dance as well, you need to have the theory behind it.
Yeah, we want to build your technique as well.
And you learn all, you know, the background of everything.
So you clearly said that dancing was something that got you through. Looking back, it was what got you through your parents' divorce. And obviously, I can imagine it probably took your mind off it, and you just let all your emotions through it. And for many, many children, children go through many different things. It can be anxiety, it can be friends going on in school, pressures, it could be exams, anything that a child can go through. And it can also be home life. And you probably have a lot of experience within your school that I would love to be able to hear.
Yes.
Some what you've seen and from your experience.
How it's changed children, help children.
Oh, yeah, and especially in today's world. I mean, we always, I don't know, for some reason, today's world seems a lot harder than it was when we were kids. I don't know why. I think maybe the social media element has so much to do with it, because you're suddenly seeing the whole time what everyone else is doing. And obviously everyone's only posting, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or any of these forums, all their WhatsApp photos, everything is the good things in life. Very few people are going, woke up today with this big spot on my face, don't I look ugly? No, they're posting the photo on their profile of them at a wedding or where they're looking their best, and that's normal, because that's, you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong in that, but you know, when you've got an overconsumption of just constantly seeing what appears to be everyone else living the best life ever, and then you're going through whatever it is, all the millions of things you just described that a kid could be going through, and it could be anything: home life, school life, self-confidence, friendships, mental health issues. It could be a whole host of things. And then it's just exasperated because on top of your own problems, everyone else hasn't got any. And that's just not true, number one. But kids
most
don't
children,
see that.
Younger children, let's say, they don't have access to, I mean, under,
That's
let's
also
say,
true.
10 or something.
Yes, that's very true. So for them, it would probably be more
Don't they watch, they see it from their parents or...
Yeah, there is definitely that, even if they're not on social media. But you're right, just even movies, billboards,
being a part of that world.
The world is in your face a bit. But even if you just take it life stresses and don't blame social media or films or screens, well, those screens are not great as well, because that does breed a lot of laziness, a lot of bad mood. You know what I mean? It's so unhealthy to just sit and just be on your screen all day. And let's face it, in England, it's not sunny a lot of the time. So our outdoor life is a bit non-existent, because in summer, the kids can play on the swings outside or go to the park. When it's raining, the most likely activity indoor is going to be a screen of some sort, whether it's a computer game or a movie or whatever. So there's the screen overload you're dealing with. But then you've also got all the stuff that they could be going through at school, which kind of stuff I see is usually friendship groups, bullying, feeling left out. Also, we see a lot of not doing very well at school. And actually, you know, she loves dance. I'm just trying to find something that she can experience success in. And that's really powerful. And that was something I definitely didn't appreciate, because I was only 24 when I opened the dance school. I was really young and naive. I love dancing and I'm going to teach people how to dance. Isn't this fun? And that is just so powerful as well. So even if you are doing well at school, great, add another string to your bow. But especially for the kids who aren't, we see a lot of children just like flourishing. And sometimes the parents haven't even told us about this, but when they get, like, say, a distinction in their drama exam, then we'll get a phone call going, or they'll come to the dance school, the door where I'm standing on some of our evenings, and they'll be like, oh, I just wanted to tell you, you know, we were so over the moon. You should have seen my daughter's face when she saw that she got a distinction. She literally, school is such a bad experience for her. She doesn't do well. She can't, you know, for whatever reason. And to just to feel valued and experience success has meant everything more. You know, the mums, I think, even feel it more than the kids, because they've got tears in their eyes. They're like just so thrilled to see that their child,
the kid is thriving,
can thrive, because school is such a bad way to measure a kid's success. But that's all we really have as they grow up, because they spend every day at school, and most of the schools, it's maths, English, you know, all your core subjects, Kodesh, it's all academic. There's very little in the way of dance, drama. There might be a little bit of music here and a bit of PE, but it's not enough. So it can be, like I was saying earlier, with our ladies coming to the fitness classes and doing your U time, it can literally be the difference between a life where you can, at worst case, feel like, what's the point? Or a life where you could be like, do you know what? I'm worth something. I'm good at something. This is it. I've got ballet next Tuesday. I'm so excited because I'm good at it. And you know, the examining board have recognised I'm good at it because I just got a high grade. So it's not even just me enjoying it and thinking it. I've got recognition. Or even like, we did this thing earlier in the year, just as a nice touch point, really, to connect with our kids. We made postcards to send home to all our kids, and it just said, you are amazing. And the teachers had an opportunity to write a message to the child about something they had excelled in that term. even if it was just like the way you smile from beginning, middle and end lights up the room, thanks for being in my class or whatever. So it was just a message from the teacher to recognise, or well done Talia, you've mastered your pirouettes this week, I'm so proud of you. And it was a surprise. They didn't know they were writing it, they got it in the post, and I had a mum come to tears at the dance school going, the postcard you sent, you should have seen the joy in my daughter's face when, first of all, it was exciting for an 8-year-old to get something in the post, because we don't write letters anymore these days. So she was really excited to be receiving something in the post, but then to read, oh my gosh, my teacher just told me that my forward roll was perfect and I can now stand up without wobbling. And she's saying, well done, I'm so proud of you. And the mum said she said, and I didn't know this about the child until the mum said she does not do well at school. It's a real daily struggle. And she just was like, thank you for giving my child a moment where she felt, you could actually cry talking about it, because it's so powerful. And she was like, thank you for giving my child a minute's experience. And it wasn't more than a minute, because she was so chuffed. She was showing her family and her siblings, look what I got. Just giving my child that moment of, and that's from just going to a dance course. Now, when the mum signed up to that hobby, she wasn't thinking, I'm doing this because she had no expectations. She was just looking for a fun outlet. And it just goes back to that. You don't know what you're going to unleash, the potential and the reward that it's going to bring your child is, that kid will remember that probably for the rest of her life, that moment, because you all remember, you don't remember necessarily things, you remember how you feel. And she'll always remember that feeling of excitement, and that will hopefully spur her on to pursue her hobbies for the rest of her life, because of how good it makes you feel when you actually achieve something and get recognition for it. So it's very powerful.
Do you believe that every child should have something out of school? Some sort of, it could be dance, it could be art, it could be anything, it could be chess club.
100%, without a shadow of a doubt. And in my dream world, this is like something now as I've got older, I would love to, I actually did look into it, and it's not so straightforward, but because I'm very conscious of the fact that these extracurriculars, certainly my dance school, it's for privileged people who can afford to come. And I'm not saying, you have to be of a certain demographic or financial status. No, because it's what you place value on as well. I've got families who they place so much value on this, that this will come before even a holiday or you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's an activity. We're not a charity. We have to run as a business, and we will always help if someone comes to me in confidence and says, I'm going through X, Y. But that's a big deal for someone to confide in you in the first place, and wherever we can help, we will, unofficially. You can't write on your business, please be in touch if you can't afford it, don't worry, we'll sort you out, because then you're opening floodgates. And
do you have sponsorships and stuff?
Not officially. So like I said, we will help. We do a lot of school clubs, so we have an arrangement with a lot of the schools that we're in, that children who are, say, it's called pupil premium, so they're getting free school meals. I think the parents have to be beneath a certain level of income, where we have an arrangement where we'll, every class will have a quota to accommodate some of these children, particularly children that the school feel that would really benefit from, because they like dance or they're good at it, or they've expressed an interest but can't afford it.
Can you teach people who totally don't know how to dance to dance?
In my experience, very few people have what you call two left feet. I have so many people coming to my ladies' fitness class going, I've got two left feet, but does it matter? And I'm like, first of all, you probably don't. You're probably just not confident. And you know what, it is about confidence, because even if you're not the world's best dancer, if you're just losing yourself in it and going with it, you will look good dancing. Okay, whether you could do a high-speed tap dance in a show, possibly not. But if it's just, going for fun and to learn, it's more confidence than ability that I see that holds people back. So you can pretty much teach anyone to move and improve.
Children with ADHD. Have you...
I'm just laughing because I feel like an expert on it, because I don't know if you... When I spoke to Mimi before this interview, and we were having our long conversation, we got onto ADHD, because you can probably tell from this interview, anyone in the field, I've just been diagnosed with it.
Okay.
So I am an ADHD, I wouldn't say expert, but obviously now
ADD is also, it's very
there's common. ADD as well, yeah. So I can now recognise it in my life, especially when my kids have got it. Not all of them, but a couple of my kids have got it. So 3 of my children have gotten a diagnosis. And before that, I didn't realise how, now with my diagnosis, my kids' diagnosis, I really know about the subject. And it comes in so many, it's not,
I think we're going to have to do a part 2 on this.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I know.
I'm serious.
The ADHD. But in answer to your question, taking myself and my kids aside of it, we do have kids coming with ADHD. And it's really interesting, though, it does make you so much more empathetic when you understand what it is. So it's really important that parents as well tell you, because we sometimes have parents that won't say anything about whatever it is. And maybe in fairness to them, they don't always know because the kids come without them being diagnosed.
Found out, quite late in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
What made you try to get this, get this diagnosis now?
For myself?
Yeah, what made you...
Because when my son got diagnosed, and that was like years, and because I didn't know much about ADHD other than maybe a parent going, oh, my kid's got ADHD, so they might not listen to the instructions, and that's all I needed to know was this kid might not listen to instructions. And if it gets problematic, tell mum. So, but I wasn't an expert on it, and I hadn't, didn't know what I know now. So when my son got diagnosed and the psychiatrist gave me the booklet, I was reading through the booklet, and it was like the top 10 typical signs of ADHD, and literally everyone was like, oh, I do that. Number 2, oh, I do that as well. Number 3, oh my God, that's me. And then by the 10th one, I was like, and I thought it was quite funny. I called my husband, I was like, Rob, I've got ADHD. This is hilarious. This is where he gets it from. And we joked about it, right? But then after about a year, maybe 2 years, I started to actually see how it was affecting certain aspects of my life, like the constant, I would call them like explosions. I miss appointments. Everyone goes, oh, you're a superwoman, you juggle a business, you've got 5 kids. And I'm dropping balls the whole time. And a lot of it is actually because of my ADHD. Now I realise. Back then I just thought, it was like, I'm doing so much and jam packing. And, each day was like, let's see what we get through. And then, but joking apart, like I'd miss an important appointment. And as I've got older, I'm tired of living like this. Like it's actually, it was starting to get hard.
Yeah.
Like I can't stay up till 4 a.m. the night before a show because I left certain things to the last minute because that's how ADHD brain rolls. And when I spoke to the psychiatrist, he actually explained, it was like a penny drop. I was like, oh my gosh, that's my life explained. Because everyone would laugh. My mum would be like, oh, you're lastminute.com and winging it. You're always winging it. Even like at North London, which is a really, it's a very academic school. It's straight A's. I was winging it. It wasn't because I always missed when homework was being given out. I never understood why. I just thought that was just me. But it's ADHD. You're switching off in the boring subject. You're not listening to the instructions, and it's stressful but funny and exciting and thrilling. But it's quite high octane. And when you get to my age, the high octane, swooping in the 11th hour is not fun. So that's why I saw the psychiatrist, and he actually explained to me. He was talking about basically in a very simple terms, your brain produces dopamine, and all the neurons, everything going on in your brain is determining your mental health and all the different areas that could be affected. And he just said your one side of the brain produces too much dopamine, and that's why you have an ability to hyperfocus. And a lot of kids, and this is what this is going to be my mission, to just help parents and explain. I just need to do more research myself, but so many ADHD kids will be so successful. And I just know from my son, I had so many years of
I think you're living proof.
Well, yeah, okay, I guess with the dancing, because that was my hyper-focus. I could spend hours doing the dance.
That's what you've built.
Yes, so that's an example. I can hyper-focus on that. And then, like, for example, my son, who really struggles to do any work, and like he's 15 now, and he has missed so much school. We've moved him around. And for the first few years, especially before I knew about ADHD and understanding what it was, I was like, oh, you've got to work. I'd come from North London. My sister's come to Habs. We were straight A's. He needed to get straight A's, or at least try. But, and
Did you have this when you were 14, 15?
What?
Like how you
No,
see
I didn't.
son?
It manifests completely differently.
Oh, okay.
No, not
Came
at
out
all.
in a
That's why I
completely
couldn't.
different way. I know, because you were saying earlier, you got your study, you had your education, your parents were into your education.
Yes, and it manifests in girls differently as well. Because I look back now and we laugh, because my sister, actually, she hasn't got a diagnosis, but she jokes and says she's got it as well. That can be her separate story to say whatever. But there were kids in our school growing up who were the naughty boys in the class. They were told to sit in the corner. Everyone knew them as the class clowns. And actually, these poor boys blatantly had ADHD, but no one even knew about it in the day. So they had ants in their pants. They couldn't sit still. And instead of a teacher knowing and understanding and going, okay, go and run around for half an hour in the playground, because that's probably all they needed, they would just stop being so naughty, sit in the corner, go and write 50 lines in your lunch break. And that's just the awful thing about ADHD. And I've had it with my kids where you're being punished for things you can't help. And it's really difficult. So, like you said, it's probably another podcast.
It's another podcast in itself, and another episode. And I really would love to. We're going to be in touch about this. But I wanted to just tap into that. So, do you have any experience? Like, have you had children that have clearly struggled in class due to having some sort of
Yes.
disability, is that the word?
Yeah, well,
Some sort of extra need.
Extra need, yeah.
Some sort of extra need. Have you had any experience with
Yes.
that? And do you have any?
Yes,
anything to share?
100%. Yeah, because the kids with dyslexia, or the kids with, who aren't necessarily being able to produce a certain level of work or whatever, they're not excelling at school, whether it's because of their dyslexia, because of their ADHD, because of their ADD, all the different things that...
Does it manifest into the dance as well, though?
It can sometimes behaviour. Did I say that word right? In their behaviour, it can manifest in their behaviour for sure. And I have to sometimes educate my younger members of staff who maybe haven't done a course on ADHD, because there are actually a lot of courses, just like you can do your safeguarding course, your first aid course, you can do your, how to manage a class with kids with certain needs. So, but if they're not aware, you do have to explain it, because you have to understand that it's striking that balance between, yes, you need discipline in the class. You can't have a kid just running around screaming, disrupting, going, it's okay, they've got ADHD. No. But you can also be more understanding in the way you manage it and deal with it. And as long as we're in communication with the parent, it's hard when the parent doesn't know. You can't just go, I think your child has this, by the way. You can't really say that to a parent outright like that. But you can definitely flag the behaviour and just say, I don't know if it's to do with any underlying things, but they are doing this. And it is proving to be a disruption to the class. Let's see how it goes next week. And then if after a couple of classes there's no improvement and they literally can't manage, but usually if they're enjoying the class, because again, especially with ADHD, you've got the hyper focusing. So a kid with ADHD who finds their hobby, like my son, for example, doesn't do a scrap of schoolwork hardly, but he's obsessed with aeroplanes and he's had flying lessons and he knows every button. He can land, take off a commercial flight if we needed him to. He's obsessed with planes. He's had lessons because that's his hyper focusing. So it's not that he's not bright. He's extremely bright. The stuff he knows and comes up. And that was important even for me as a mother to see, because I was limiting him before I even knew about ADHD, just based on my experience as education is everything. And I'm going to do what my parents did to me. I'm going to make him do his education because he's going to need it.
Well, actually, I think it's success is everything. And you're making him successful just in a different way.
Well, please God, this is the idea. Yeah, it's just school's not for everyone.
Education is not necessarily success. Success is building an amazing human being that will be successful in something.
And find their thing. Yeah. And this is what, just on that topic of ADHD or dance or whatever it is, in life, you only need to be good at one thing. So you're with your music and you've made a career of it. It didn't really matter, actually, looking back, what you got in English.
It's so interesting because I was just not academic and I struggled in school.
Wow, okay, so, there you go.
I was sitting, I'm just like, yeah.
And this is you, and then look what success, like I'm looking at this, we're looking at this, what looks like gobbledygook to me, like microphones and keyboards and squiggles on the screen, and at that I would run a mile if someone said do something with this. Right. But it's a massive skill, and I just think as parents, whether your kid's got a need or not a need, you can equip them with everything, so you just broaden their horizon, even if it's a small horizon to begin with because they're not doing well at school, or they are doing well at school, but then you kind of like giving them a massive springboard to their future, whatever that might be, even if it's not their career necessarily, but it's just like, you know what, that got me through the hard time because I was so into fitness growing up and my parents encouraged it. My fitness routine help, just gets you through life, whatever life is throwing at you.
Yeah, it's not about what they actually do. It's really true with children. They just need to feel
happiness. It's the happiness. That's what I always say to my teachers as well when I'm training them. I'm like, I don't care, like, because a lot of them come from, 3-year degree at dance school, and it was like, you had to even look a certain way to like make it past certain levels and grades. And I was like, these kids are just coming here to obviously learn the skill, but feel good about themselves. So, if you're finding that, because you're always going to have your top X% of kids who, I've got a couple in my dance school, they're amazing. We teach them a pirouette, they've learnt it by the next week. They are just naturally gifted, brilliant dancers, and they work hard. And then you've got some kids that really work hard and don't, learn at that speed, because that's life and that's human beings and that's how we all operate, but that doesn't lessen them and they can't be measured against each other. So again, like I make it my business when I'm teaching any kids class that they will all have a comment from me at some point in that class. So even if I've said brilliant pirouette, because it was a brilliant pirouette, excellent split leap, oh my God, you've mastered that. And then there's a kid who isn't popping out because of the certain skill or anything they're doing well. But just the fact that they're trying and they're there and they're smiling. So it'll be like, do you know what? You have smiled from start to finish in this dance. I can't keep my eyes off you. brilliant because you're the one I'd watch in the show because you're having the most amount of fun.
I love that.
The attitude.
Yeah.
And then the kid goes home
Feeling amazing.
and they've had that recognition, and so they should, because they're all bringing into the table, like you said, something. It's not always measured like we're taught at school by the A, B's and C's and the grades that you get. And that's and I've heard so many people speak about ADHD in particular. It's like a life lesson, that because we only know that to measure our kids in the school system, because it is graded. It's how well you read, how well you did in the test, how well you did in the exam. But this amazing psychiatrist in America, and he was just saying, and actually it's wrong education for all kids to be taught that, because actually in life the most successful people were only good at that one thing. Now in school, if you outsource the people who are good at geography, maths and the things you're not good at and pay them to take your exams, that's called cheating. In life, that's a highly successful entrepreneur who knows what he was good at and buys in and outsources the rest. But you're taught the reverse. You're taught at school you've got to be good at everything. But you don't. You actually need to be good at that one thing. So it's a really important, powerful lesson to take with you, because maybe with my son, for example, if planes is the only thing that he does and he's successful, that's all he's going to need in life. And it's really powerful and important, rather, for everyone to know that.
Yeah.
When you started your dance school, you said that the reason you started it was because you just become religious and you found there was a need in the community. There wasn't really anything for children to explore their talents in the religious community. Did you realize what a responsibility you were taking on? I mean, we're talking about so much that children, it can literally be their lifeline.
Yeah.
This school.
Yeah. No,
exploring
I had no
any
idea.
talent, not even your school, but any talent. Yeah.
We'll be right back to this episode. Hi, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Aviva, and we are the founders of Mother to Mother, an organisation that supports and empowers women on their motherhood journeys. We offer a wide range of services to make sure that every mother can thrive, from emotional support services to mother and baby groups, practical help, health information, community kitchen, and more.
Mother to Mother builds communities of women to support each other. By tuning into our podcast, you have joined the Mother to Mother family today. Welcome, and enjoy the rest of this episode.
No, I wasn't thinking anything along those lines. I was just thinking like, well, I've become a frum now. I love dancing. How can I keep using my passion? And I enjoy teaching as well. But no, I wasn't thinking this might help loads of kids and even women. When we launched our ladies program, it was just more about, like I was saying at the beginning, let's just dance and have fun. Isn't this fun? And
now looking back.
Yeah, it's just so powerful. It gives you, it's such a gift. And I'm so grateful. I'm just so grateful for all the opportunities to had the path I had to be able to, for my parents to have sent me to these classes, but to be in a position where I'm able to do what I love, and for it to be so meaningful, because you can often do what you love, and it doesn't necessarily impact people or things or life, but it's like the double. It's become more about the why now. That has become the why more than anything, whereas at the beginning the why was, I like dance, I'm going to teach some classes, and it'd be a nice way to run my day to day. But now it's like, you are literally, I want to go into as many schools as we can and make this as accessible to as many. We do community events, mums and daughters events and shows, even people watching the shows, like the letters you'll get after from some people just going, it brought me so much joy. It was so moving to watch all those kids, all different shapes, and especially with the adults as well, just all these people, all different shapes and sizes, all different talents on stage, singing together. Music is so powerful as well. And just people, even the audience members get so much out of it. And again, I wasn't setting it up so the audience member could, but when you see that the effect of performing arts and dance on not just the performers, their family as well, the nachas of the mum seeing their daughter twirl around on stage. I had a mum years ago whose daughter was deaf, and she had a couple of other needs. I can't remember what they were, because now we're talking maybe like 16, 17 years ago. And to the point that the mother was backstage with her. She didn't know if she'd go on stage. Could she hear the music? Could she? And the mum was sobbing while she was on stage. And I could cry just thinking about this moment, because here's this mum who's probably gone through the most horrific journey of bringing up a child with all the different medical, physical needs, everything that this kid was going through. And then suddenly her kid's on stage in a tutu, twirling around, beaming, at the end.
Is success.
That is success.
That is
everything.
Success. Louise, you've mentioned a few times that you have also an adult track. I'm very curious to know, obviously a lot of women come to and join in. Can you explain what you do with the women?
So when I first opened the dance school, we would have a couple of ladies classes, bit of ballet and tap, and there were smaller classes. It was mainly children.
Yeah.
And we just had these 2 adult classes that I actually used to teach back in the day when I taught everything. And then I was a lot younger. That was before I was even married. I launched the dance school and it was great. I loved even the social aspect of just chatting to the women. And then when Zumba kind of swept the world as this like dance/fitness phenomenon, I looked at that and I was like, that looks really fun. I'm going to go on the training course for that. And then I sent one email out to the dance school going, oh, by the way, mums, something for you now. I've done this training. We're going to launch a few classes. First of all, there was like this just wave. The whole world was going to a Zumba class. We're talking about 12, 13 years ago.
Frumba.
Yeah, or Frumba, which we also launched after. But yeah, so I did this Zumba class. And then suddenly I realised it opened the floodgates of people because whereas your average mum wasn't coming to do ballet or tap because that's quite niche and specific. You've got to like dance, want to learn that style. Everyone wants to keep fit, lose weight, stay in shape. So already you're talking to everyone, literally everyone. If I was talking to every mum who sends to my dance school, and pretty much, I won't say all of them came, but it felt like everyone was suddenly coming because the first class we used to teach, we used to have 1 week. It's a freak week, but we had 110 people show up. Wow. I had Kinloss banqueting suite. We don't do it there anymore because there are too many. I know. Literally, the girls would come back from SEM. It was just like madness.
I'm thinking of the smell.
Yeah, that too.
But you need like a proper speaker system there.
Like, it was a whole thing.
You think of that aspect. That's different.
I'm thinking about the sound, and that's hilarious.
You're like,
but it was such a phenomenon.
Oh my! Wow.
So that was great, and that kind of, and then again, was doing it for the fun aspect. Let's keep fit. And I was on my 4th child by that point. So I was also starting to realise that the body didn't spring back into shape so easily.
Well, you're not
anymore.
looking too bad.
Well, it's hard work, let me tell you. And anyone who just says, I wake up like this, they might not be lying because that's not fair. Because I think some people do have things going for them. I don't know what though, because literally I never thought about food. I didn't even know what diet was. Like growing up. So you're going back to how it started for the ladies. So we started this, everyone came, it's lots of fun. And again, it started off as fun, let's do Zumba, isn't this fun? Like, sweating away for an hour. And I really appreciate it, like I said, because I was on my 4th kid, I had weight to lose and it didn't just fall off. It didn't actually fall off with any of them. After I had number 1, I remember naively going to hospital. I put on about 3 stone because I just thought that's what you do. You eat as much as you like when you're pregnant because you need to. And then I just thought, and I'm going to get back into my normal skirt. And I never forget standing in the hospital, first of all, just looking at, like, I still looked pregnant the next day, heavily pregnant. I had one of those stomachs that took like about 3 months to even just go back down. And I couldn't even get the skirt past my, past my thighs. And I was like, what?
We know the feeling.
Yeah. It was so naive though, wasn't it? Like as if you're going to lose 3 stone when you give birth.
I'm so happy that you took the skirt and tried to even put it up.
I know.
That's confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence.
But you can't wing it.
And it was like, no one warned me. But although now looking back, it is common sense that the baby weighs, 7 pounds. What's that? Half a stone. And a bit of water, and then you've got suddenly 2 extra
2.5 stones.
Yeah, literally. So, but anyway, by my 4th, it was really, it's hard. It's hard. What can I say? It's hard. So I had weight to lose as well, and I loved going to this class and just dancing and sweating for an hour and feeling so invigorated and energized. Because let's be real, how tiring's life? Aren't you tired?
Yeah,
I'm so
bogs you
tired
down
every day. It's tiring. Life's tiring, and I just find these classes just give you energy, and that's what I always say to ladies. Okay, I know it's easier for me because I'm teaching it, so I can't ever go, even though I've got to tell you, some evenings when it's raining and it's like pitch black at 5 o'clock and I've got to go and teach at 8:30, I never feel like going, let me tell you, but I know I'm going to have the best time. And that's when the ladies come, I'm like, round of applause to all of you for coming and making it. The reality is it's so easy to let life get in the way. And that's why I always say to ladies, you're never going to feel like it. You never wake up and go, I feel like putting my leggings on now and jogging for an hour. I feel like getting in the car when it's raining and it's dark and I'm really tired and I just would rather sit on the sofa and eat ice cream to go out and do this class. And to be fair, a lot of my ladies are very focused like that, but I also bump into a lot of ladies who haven't been for a while. It's so easy to fall out of it. And actually it's my mission to just work harder as a business to keep people engaged and coming, because again, it's the difference between an energized and fit and healthy physically and mentally life compared to a sluggish life where you're just, that feeling of just like dragging your body around through the day because you've just got so much going on and you're physically and emotionally exhausted. And exercise literally cures that.
Because it's for Mother to Mother, this podcast. Do you have mothers who come after they give birth? Like how long after they give birth?
So, well, it's always 6 to 12 weeks, isn't it? It's usually for this kind of exercise, 12 weeks is probably the most recommended. But I always say to anyone pregnant or post-pregnancy or post after giving birth, check with your doctor. But once you've got the okay to start exercising, it's just best to come straight into it and ease in slowly, because your body's not the same. I always say to especially first time mums, like you're not going to feel fit. You might not even be able to keep up. That's fine. Just march while we're all jumping around. And even to people who haven't done the class, even if you haven't had a baby, like if your fitness isn't up to it, just build up. But we've had some amazing stories. I had this lady come and she introduced herself to me. It was back in those days where not long after I'd launched, we had like sometimes 60 to 70 people in the class. So even though I'd like wave, you can't really talk to everyone unless they come and speak to you at the end, because some of them be flying out the door before you've even had a chance to speak. But this lady came up to me at the end and she was like, I just wanted to speak to you. Have you got a few minutes? I was like, yeah, sure. And she goes, I just want to introduce myself properly because I've been coming now for, 6-7 weeks, however long it had been. And she was coming twice a week because you always recognise your regulars as well. And she just said, I just want to come to let you know, I've just had my second baby. And after my first child was born, I think he was 3 at the time. And she was like, I had really bad postnatal depression, but bad, like clinically off the scale bad. Like I was in bed for a year, literally couldn't get up. I couldn't hold my baby, couldn't look at my baby. So depressed. And I was like, oh gosh, And again, this was in my younger years. I'd had Miri, so we're going back. Yeah, it's still 12 years, but still in my learning experience of like hearing about people with depression and, real life cases. And she came up to me and she starts explaining about how she had really bad depression, couldn't get out of bed for a year, and it was just terrible. Then finally with therapy, with medication and time, she started to get up and live again, and the depression wore off and she was back to her normal self. And she said the minute she felt back to her normal self, she wanted to have another baby. She goes, I want to get pregnant. So they went to the doctor and the doctor said, that's fine, but please just be warned and just be aware that you will possibly get this, will most likely get the postnatal depression again and could possibly have it even worse second time round. I can't remember all the medical ins and outs, but she was basically told by her doctor, just be warned, you're most likely to at least experience what you experienced with your first again. So be prepared and let's prepare you. So one of her preparations was she was going to immediately make an exercise and eating plan. So she would, feel in good shape, because also part of the depression, she was putting on weight because, if you're lying in bed every day and feeling depressed, and then it's all a spiral and goes out of control. So one of the things she was going to immediately work on was healthy diet, and she was going to subscribe to something that she was going to pay up front. So and make herself go and do these things a few times a week. So one of them was this class. So she was coming to my Zumba and she goes, so I think she was about 2 months in at the time. And she said, I just wanted to come and say thank you. She said, because I had my baby, lovely, healthy boy. As soon as I had it was either the 6-week or the 12-week check, whichever one it was. She goes, as soon as I had my check and I was allowed to exercise again, I came here, been coming twice a week. And she said, not only have I not felt anything like before, no signs whatsoever of depression and all the symptoms I was experiencing with my first child, I actually feel elated, I feel energized, I feel happy, I've got mojo, and I just feel so good about life. And I just want to thank you because it's because of these classes. And I remember thinking, oh my, it like stops you in your tracks, because I had no idea that this fun hour of dancing could mean that to someone.
You didn't know it could do it.
You don't know. Yeah. You just think, well, it's just a fun dance class. We're going to get fit together.
It's just become so much more. Yeah. It's literally just become so much more. And I think this is really showing, obviously exercise is really important, but any kind of self-care. And as I said, I've given 100%. Other examples before, going to an art class. I mean, I know I go once a week to an art class and I love it. It's just when you sit and you connect with other women.
Oh, it's everything.
If somebody has children, then it's time to just have a bit of you time. Yeah. Someone, is married or single, just time to put yourself in another space. And can we talk a little bit about that? Just having that self-care in all 100%. Areas.
Yeah. And even for myself, because people go, how do you do it? How do you go to class? I'm like, I think that's what keeps me sane. and keeps me, I'm about to say in a good mood, but speak to my family, I'm not always in a good mood. But I try to be like balance. Yeah, just like the will to get up and get on with. Sometimes I look at my day and, you know,
Just
you've got
a bit
the
of you
rotors
time.
and yeah, exactly. So, and I will say this is what I was saying earlier about you never feel like it. So whether it's exercise or also a lot of ladies will say, I just don't have time. I find myself saying it for lots of other things. And actually, you will never find the time. No one ever finds time. You make the time. And it's so important that you make the time, like you said, whether it's for art, whether it's to go for a walk, whatever it is you enjoy, anything, an art gallery, shopping, sitting in your garden reading a book, going to a dance class, going to a yoga class, whatever it is that you're feeling it, beyond exercise. Obviously, exercise is definitely one very good one because you should exercise to keep fit. But in addition to that,
hormone, or that feel-good hormone.
it gives you the serotonin. Yeah, it gives you it releases like the happy endorphins. So, but hobbies do the same thing as well. You get into that state of elation, natural happiness, and it's just so important to do that you make the time because you're never going to find it. And because especially as mothers or even working single, whatever is going on in your life and what you're doing, if you don't find you have the time, which I think most people suffer with that because we lose ourselves in our jobs, in our families, in our errands, in the drudgery, whatever you want to call it, of like the day-to-day stuff that not necessarily they're not your hobbies, they're things that you just have to do, like go to do the food shop. And actually I quite like that sometimes. Is that sad to like food shopping? Okay, that's just because I like food. But anyway,
because you're going down the aisle and you're like, I'm going to eat you soon.
It's just fun, like choosing what to buy. Yeah. But anyway, okay, but whatever it is, so you make the time. So just another example, and again, this is a lady who has given me permission to share her story because she actually came forward and said, by the way, you can share this with anyone because if it can help one more person who was in a similar position to me, then it's worth sharing and telling the world. And she'd been coming to my dance school for years as a mother of, she's got lots of gorgeous daughters who've been through my dance school literally since the day I opened. And I think it was her 7th or 8th child. She's got a gorgeous big family and she had a baby that was born, I think it was with a heart problem. There were just some health problems and she was told that the baby wouldn't even live beyond a day. The baby lived for 18 months, but it was a lot of health problems along the way and then sadly, tragically passed. And she called me up to when I first heard the news and she was just like, you know, this is the situation I've been in. It was just horrendous to hear. And she was like, I've been living in a dark hole for however many months it was since the tragedy. And she was just like, and I was just wondering, you know, I've heard such good things about your Zumba classes and I was wondering, do you think it's for me? I'm not really a dancer, don't really want to see people I know. And we had some classes in Edgware and Gold Screen. She said, do you think if I come to the Edgware one, say I won't bump into people? And do you think it's for me? And I was like, absolutely 100% come. Anyway, so she came and she ended up coming regularly 2-3 times a week. And she'd message me like, I'm obsessed. Anyway, she then came forward to just describe in such detail what she'd been through, where she was and where she's now. And she goes, I just need you to know that these classes have been a life-saving lifeline for me. She goes, I actually joke, I don't like, she was telling me how she doesn't need her therapist anymore. Like, you think it was like half just but I'm not joking.
Wow.
Like, she was like, I was in such a black hole. I couldn't see beyond, I couldn't ever imagine a life where I would feel joy again after going what she'd been through because it was so horrific and it'd been a long, horrific journey. But she had other family members to look after. She had has a husband and her other kids, and she knew she couldn't sit and grieve forevermore in this dark space, but she didn't know how. She said, I didn't know how. I just didn't know what to do. So obviously she got given this, idea to maybe I'll go to this class and see. And she just said, she said the music, the people, the feel-good joy, the non-judgmental, the everything. She said, I just lose myself in that hour. And for 1 hour, I've let go of everything that is occupying my mind. And the elation lasts a couple of days until my next class.
Wow.
And she just said, I feel like, thank you, like life's worth living again. And you just think, goodness, gosh, you know,
I didn't know this when I started.
Yeah, you don't go on the course going, I'm going to learn this because I'm going to help people, like, you know, have a meaning of why they should live. But then you've got people coming up with stories like that where they're like, I feel happy because of this. And then it goes back to what you're saying, have that outlet, have that hobby, because that will be your lifeline. And we've done several surveys, actually. We do them like annually or sometimes twice a year, where we'll survey the ladies, and we always get a good response because we do like a raffle. We're like, if you fill this 1 minute thing, the winner will get pulled at raffle and you'll win like £50 worth of classes and runners up, because it's important, you know, otherwise people are always too busy to even fill in a question. So we get, you know, good volume of replies, and we ask lots of questions. And some of the questions were like, is what are the benefits? Why do you come to this class? Because it's so fascinating and important as a business owner to understand what it is the client's like, because they'll often say, as I've learned over the years, things you didn't even realise are good about your class. And then you can help other people who might be experiencing that, because you didn't even think that was a plus of it. You think it's exercise and good health and happiness, but it's actually beyond that. And some of the things that you get, not only these stories about having depression and it saving them from depression. One woman said it's like she has a better marriage because she's always in a good mood. And her husband says to her, oh, have you just come out of Zumba? And she was like, yeah, how do you know? He goes, you got your happy post-class, like happy good mood voice on.
Oh, I love that.
Right? But that's like really powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, a good marriage or a not so good marriage. One woman said it helped. She holds it responsible for helping her get the promotion at work, because she felt so confident and energized going into work every day that she felt confident to go for a promotion, even though this class has got nothing to do with her line of work. Wasn't the point. It's how she felt about herself. She just felt like, I feel like this. You finish a class and towards the end, you're like, I can take on the world, bring it on. That's just how, that's how you feel subconsciously. Yeah. You're like, bring it on. Like,
that's what exercise does.
And also exciting ideas come because you sometimes have to take yourself out of the stresses of life, whatever they may be, and allow, like you said, that space, because it provides a brand new space for you to sit in, and just great things happen in that time. So you owe it yourself to make that time to do whatever it is that you love doing, or discover something. If you don't know what it is you love, you'll find something you love by trying things.
Wow, I've taken so much from this episode, Louise. Honestly, it was such an enlightening episode.
It was really fun.
It was really fun as well. We've had a good laugh.
Really nice.
I mean, unless we edit all the laughs, but we've actually had a really good laugh doing this. We are so appreciative for you coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We did. We had a dance.
Thank you for listening to this episode on Spotlight. If you are affected by any of the challenges we have discussed, then please visit www.mtom.org.uk/podcast for guidance on where to find help.
Do you also have a story to share? Be in touch if you'd also like to be a lifeline for others by sharing and empowering women across the world. Podcasts at mtom.org.uk.